Hello and welcome. Today I thought it would be fun to make a little card that could be used in the fall or really any time of year using some new scrapbooking products that Stampin' Up! Came out with. Now I'm going to be having another video, and I don't know if it'll be published before or after this one, but another video showing some of those scrapbooking products in detail. So I'm not going to spend a lot of time in this video showing those products, but I specifically want to showcase the new two-toned cardstock. I'll pull in some full sheets here so we can see. I love this cardstock that Stampin' Up! Is now making, and this actually came over from Close to My Heart. Many of you probably know that Close to My Heart was a stamping and scrapbooking company around for many years, and they closed their doors earlier this year. And before they did that, they partnered with Stampin' Up! And Stampin' Up! Has now been able to offer some of those products that the Close to My Heart customers and new customers have enjoyed for years, and the new customers now are able to enjoy through Stampin' Up! So one of their big things was always scrapbooking kits, and then this two-tone cardstock I think is one of the really cool things that came over, and I am so excited about it to show you and to make some projects with it. So I have two different pieces here. I flipped them over so that you can see the difference in the colors. So this is the petal pink. It is, you can see it's lighter on one side and darker on the other. This is that old olive, and these are 12 by 12 sheets. I have cut some of them down, so one will look a little bit smaller than the other, but there's the difference there. This is that pecan pie. And then I don't have a second piece of Mossy Meadow handy, but I'm gonna just do this so you can kind of see the difference in the two sides, the lighter and darker. So, okay, so in my original card here, you can see that I'm using the two tones of each of these colors of cardstock. So what I did was I used the same cardstock on both of these pieces. I just flipped it over and used the lighter side here and the darker side here. So for the card, very simple products today. I cut a 1/2 inch strip of 4 different colors of that two-tone cardstock. So I have a 1/2 inch strip of pecan pie, the petal pink, old olive, and mossy meadow. And then we'll use those on that main focal piece of our card. For our little sentiment, we're gonna use just a little piece of Very Vanilla. I'm not even sure if I measured this, but I did an angle cut at the end. So you can pretty much use whatever length you want, just kind of decide at the time. I do have a piece of Very Vanilla cardstock to layer our pieces of the colored cardstock onto. And this is 2 3/4 by 4 inches. I have a piece of Very Vanilla on the base of our card. Yes, this is 4 inches by 5 1/4. And then the base of our card is going to be in Mossy Meadow. This is 4 1/4 by 11 inches, scored at 5 1/2. So we're going to have a top folding card. So just to kind of get the card base ready here, I'm going to just use some of the Stampin' Seal tape runner, and I'm going to tape this Very Vanilla panel directly to the card base. I know sometimes I use glue, sometimes I like the tape runner. It's really interchangeable. Either one works, so just kind of get that on the front there, and then I'm going to set that aside so it's ready for us when we're ready to start assembling. And then let's work on the main focal piece. I am going to go ahead and zoom in a bit so we can see what's going on here. So my idea with this card was to kind of make it look like, if you're looking out across the horizon, you might see dirt on the bottom, you might see trees, kind of like a tree line, and then maybe a pink sky like a sunset or sunrise. So that was kind of my thinking as I put these colors together. Now let me tell you, you can do this in any order. You can use regular cardstock to do this technique. I really wanted to just show the technique and how easy it is with the two-tone cardstock, but you can use any cardstock. You can use designer series paper with the different patterns. Just cut a bunch of strips and we're going to tape them directly to our little piece of just a base. I mean, you can, and this could be any color you want because you're going to cover it completely up. I just grabbed very vanilla because it was handy. So I'm going to start by just adding some adhesive to my base piece, and I'm going to just do a little bit at a time so I don't end up with a big sticky mess. If you're using glue, you know, just maybe put kind of a couple beads of glue across. Now I wanted my light on top and then dark right underneath it. So I'm just looking to see which is light, which is dark. And I'm going to line this right up. And you can overhang the edges because you can trim them off, trim the edges, you know, once you're done. So I'm going to try to get up to the edges, or the top and the right side. Stick that down. I like to flip this over because then I can use this edge, you know, as kind of my guide to trim off the excess. Just do a little trim, flip it back over, and then we're going to stick this down the other way so that the dark side is showing. Line it up with the other one, flip it over and trim. Okay, and then we're going to just keep repeating the same thing all the way down. I'm going to do the old olive next. Okay, and we have that whole front panel covered with the 2 tones of cardstock. I am going to clean this up a little bit in my paper trimmer. Okay, so after I trimmed up my piece, you know, just kind of cleaned up the edges, I did run it through my embossing machine with the Forever Plaid 3D embossing folder, and it comes out with that really cool plaid texture. So just to add a little bit of interest, now this is early espresso ink, and I'm just going to use my little sponge dauber on my finger. I'm going to ink it up, and I am going to go around the edges just to add a little depth, little interest. I like to kind of go up on the corners just a little bit extra, but pretty much try to keep it right on the edge. And to do that, okay, so just that little bit of ink added a little bit of depth and dimension, a little interest. While my ink is out, I am going to go ahead and stamp my sentiment. And I have this little word that just says hello, and that is from the Simply Said stamp set. It has just a bunch of really nice general sentiments on it that work for all year long, any occasion. And I am bringing in my little piece of Very Vanilla. I'm just going to ink up my little hello, and there we go. Okay. All right, and then let's go ahead and get our panel onto the card base, and I am going to use some dimensionals to add a little bit of height and just kind of center that right on there. And then we'll go ahead and add just a couple simple embellishments. So again, here's our little sentiment. I am going to add some twine. And the other thing I'm going to be adding is a couple little pieces of this chip. This chipboard comes in the Autumn to Remember Scrapbooking Workshop Kit. So unfortunately, you can't just purchase this by itself, but I think if you are a card maker, I think there's so many things you're going to find that you love in this scrapbooking kit that you can use to make cards. I mean, the possibilities are endless. There's a lot of really cool like punch outs and just some really pretty papers. You can see that all in my other video, like I mentioned, but this is one of the items that's in that scrapbooking kit, and I thought this would be really fun to put on our card. Now, I will mention these are very delicate. They are kind of that really thin wood. They will break fairly easily. So I would say that this is going to be a card you're either going to want to hand deliver or put into like a bubble wrap or like a padded envelope, just to really protect your little embellishments on the front. But I think they're so cute. They just really add a really fun element to the front of the card. So we're going to pick a couple different either leaves or trees. That's kind of the theme I'm going with. Maybe even the hearts. Let's see here. Okay, so I decided to use this fat little tree. I thought that was just so cute with maybe a little heart off to the side. So we'll go ahead and get these stuck together. I did also tie myself a little double twine bow to put as part of our embellishments. So I think I will just use a little bit of tape runner on the back of my sentiment. Okay, and then I'm going to use a glue dot, mini glue dot for my bow. Grab one of those off the transfer paper, and I want it just kind of over here for our embellishments to be on top of. I'll trim that in just a minute. And then I think, let's see here, I am going to use some dimensionals underneath these pieces just to pop them up over the top of the bow, just to give them that stability behind. So I'm going to use the little ones just to, you know, so they don't get in the way of the bow. Let's see. I'll just do those two on this tree. I did one on the top and one in this corner down here that wasn't going to be covered, you know, wasn't going to be over the top of the bow. And I'm going to grab one little dimensional for my heart. There we go. Just kind of tuck it right there. It's under the tree a little bit, but off to the side. And there is our cute little card using the scrapbooking products from the Autumn to Remember and the new double-sided, or the two-toned, I call it double-sided, but it's called two-tone cardstock from Stampin' Up. I'll bring in my original sample here so you can see they both look similar. I just used a little bit different, different little chipboard embellishments in the two. And I think they turned out really cute. These could be used for fall or really any time of year. You could. Thank you so much for watching. I truly appreciate you being here. And as always, have a great rest of your day.